Hello and welcome to today's webinar, Cleaning Up Confluence, Automated Content Lifecycle Management Made Simple. I'm really excited that so many joined and also that we can do this webinar together with our guest from Binary. Welcome, Adrian. Good to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, our today's agenda. Before we start with today's topic, we would like to introduce ourselves. Talk a little bit about Confluence in the cloud and what it offers, what the Confluence use cases are, and then we deep dive into Binary's Content Lifecycle Management solution. And after all that, we answer your questions in the Q&A section, maybe in between. Let's see how it goes. Some housekeeping rules up front. This webinar will be recorded. The recording will be made available afterwards. You will get an email. Your microphones and cameras are switched off, so we are not recording you. Please ask your questions under the question tab. If you use the chat, it's visible for everyone. If that's okay for you, you can use that as well. If you would like to ask questions just for us, use the question tab. Questions, as mentioned, will be collected and answered in the Q&A section afterwards. And if we do surveys during the webinar, they will take place anonymously. And when you write a question, we only see the first name, so we're protected. Yeah. Short introduction. My name is Jan. I'm one of the co-founders and consultants and the CMO of Jodocus. And during my nearly 14 years now of my professional life, Confluence and Jira was always a part of my business life. During the different phases and roles I had, I've used those tools quite a lot, and eventually became a consultant for those tools 5 years ago at Concentric. And since 2019, I'm one of the co-founders of Jodocus. We are a cloud-first solution partner. That means we had a focus back then, 2018, on the cloud, not because it was that great, but because we thought it would be great. And for me personally, I think it's getting better every day. Now we're a Platinum Solution Partner and also Cloud Specialized. Platinum Solution Partner is the highest level you can reach as a partner, and the Cloud Specialization is a badge that we've earned to show that we are capable of bringing customers to the cloud and help them with this change. Overall, we're 51 employees right now. A lot of people starting this month. That's why the plus, I don't know where we are right now. And we have over 30 plus partners like Binary, which is really important for us to work with customers, not only with customers, but also with partners. Closely in the customer projects. So, Adrian.
Yes, nice to meet you, all of you. My name is Adrian. I'm the co-founder of Binary. I am a former UX researcher and I'm a certified Agile expert. Okay, so my knowledge is into Scrum and Agile work management procedures. But I founded two companies. One is Sprint, which is an Agile project management tool, and we're currently really focusing on Binary, which is we are an Atlassian Marketplace vendor. And if you switch the slide, Jan, exactly. We are quite new to the game. We have extensive knowledge by using these products, of course, over 10 years in total using Jira and Confluence. And but we were a relatively new company founded in 2021. So our focus currently is in knowledge management and Confluence, and we are driving our app Breeze in the marketplace, which gained many users during 1 year, and we're very proud of this. Also, we're very, very proud of having really great partnerships with solution partners like Jodocus. We're happy about this. So I really like to be here, and yeah, great to have me here.
Cool. Yeah, so what is Confluence Cloud? Most of the time I get the question, what is it? What features are available in the cloud and what are the benefits? And my answer is most of the time, a another question, which is how do you keep your business data in one place? Well, with Confluence. If you're like most businesses, you probably have data scattered across various apps and services like Slack, Teams, email, file server. With COVID, we just got some new digital whiteboard apps like Miro and Mural, and everywhere is data, right? So this can make it difficult to get a holistic view of your business and to find out information in your company. Confluence is your central workspace that connects knowledge and collaboration. And for me, there are 4 points that makes Confluence so great. And the first one is Confluence allows teams to work together on documents, projects, and ideas in real time. Work together by adding comments and notification or notify your teammates whenever needed. Confluence provides tools for organizing content so teams can quickly find the information they need. Set the right permission that users can see everything, use the home and personalization feed to get the information you need to see what's work in progress, and use the announcement blocks to keep your team informed. Confluence integrates with other Atlassian tools, obviously, like Jira and Trello, but as well as third-party tools like Google or Microsoft, which is super handy in the cloud when you already use like Google Drive or Dropbox or Microsoft OneDrive. Just you don't have to re-upload everything into Confluence. Just connect your document or documents within Confluence and edit it from there. Or as mentioned before, when you have a retrospective, we've been used to that. Adrian probably can tell how it works, but back in the days when we did a retrospective, we had a whiteboard or a flip chart, and we took a picture and uploaded that to Confluence. And now you can do that with Miro and Mural just by linking the board, right? So everything comes together in one place. And the last thing is Confluence in the cloud allows teams to access their content from anywhere at any time, as long as they have an internet connection. And furthermore, with the latest feature releases from Atlassian, you can now invite guests to work and collaborate on your content with external collaboration. You have a mobile app where you can work together from anywhere. It gives you instant access to all the documentations you need. And since, some weeks now, we do have the automation, and you can build flexible if this, then that rules to minimize manual tasks and keep your teams organized. Furthermore, we do have over 100 plus, I think it's 130 right now, templates available out of the box so that you can just start right away, right? For meeting notes or work trip planner, strategy plans, and so on and so forth. So what are the Confluence use cases? One could be obviously the knowledge management part, right? Centralize and gather all your business knowledge in one place. Another could be product requirements. Track your product requirements, your design documents from Figma or Adobe XD. Use Confluence to document and share customer interviews and personas. So it's super great for product development and product management. Business teams can use Confluence, for example, track all their marketing campaigns like we did, and all our information about the reporting of different apps. We just bring them all together in Confluence so that everyone can see them. Onboard your new employees in HR by using a wide range of documentation and training and so on and so forth. Digital workplace. It's a huge topic, but Confluence allows companies to effectively collaborate and converse, whether you are remotely, hybrid, or in an office. And you can connect all your business apps. Use Confluence as an intranet, as a central space for all your business announcements and communication, implement ideation, blogging, social feeds, and so on. Just connect your employees in one place. software teams. Software teams can not only document how their software is working, but also their releases and sprints, document their ready definition of ready or definition of done, and their coding guidelines, and so on and so forth. And last but not least, you can use Confluence as a document management system. We already wrote a blog post about that with K15T's document management tool. And that's a great thing to put all your pages together as product handbooks or onboarding guidelines and hand it out to your employees or your customers. But with all the things you can do, with all the data you create, you have to think about, well, is it still the right version? Is it still, is it new enough? Do we have to update it? So, and there, I'm happy to hand over to Adrian.
Nice, thank you, Jan. So I will share my screen. It would be great if you could give me a short feedback whether you see my screen or not. So now you should see something that looks like a slide.
Yes.
Perfect. Great. So as you know, Confluence is a great tool for sharing knowledge, for storing knowledge, for working on different topics, different projects, etc., etc. Now, what we see and what we hear from our customers, and what is actually the reason why we developed an app for managing this problem, is that spaces grow over time. Spaces and the number of pages. These are two factors that really drive mass in Confluence. And to give you an example, our biggest customer has over 400 spaces which contain over 400,000 pages, which is really a huge amount of pages to manage, and that's actually why they decided to use Breeze. Now, the problem with that many information is actually that Confluence in the end suffers from lots of uncontrolled information overload. So everyone is creating documents, and in the end, you have many outdated pages and clutter in your system, and overall low content quality. And before we actually developed the app, we did some research because we want to have a really substantial amount of value provided by our app. The thing we want to highlight is that cluttered Confluence systems in the end result in a tremendous amount of money wasted and wasted resources, so time and money. And our investigation turned out numbers like this, that if you have, for instance, 500 users in your Confluence system, you can expect an amount like like $2,500 wasted each and every month just because of outdated pages. And why? You can see this here. We assume 10 minutes wasted for each user every month, which doesn't sound like much. I mean, 10 minutes every month is not much, but it adds up with more users you have in your system, of course. And these wasted time and in the end wasted money results because of having discussions about which page is still relevant. You need to schedule meetings with your colleagues, etc., etc. And currently we're doing another investigation to really prove these numbers again. And it turns out that the real numbers seem to be even higher than 2 years ago when we did the first evaluation. So that being said, that's the reason why we developed the app Breeze. Breeze is staff picked by Atlassian, which means it's recommended by Atlassian as a really substantial app for solving this problem. It is cloud fortified, which is the highest standard or highest award you can get as an app in the Atlassian Marketplace. And it's built with Atlassian Forge, which is Atlassian's latest development technology, and it has some certain benefits. So it's really up to date and gives you everything. It's enterprise ready and has the highest standards in terms of security, reliability, and also we provide excellent support. And that being said, we dive right into the demo right now. So when you install Breeze, it integrates into your Confluence sidebar right here. And it has several components which are shown here. And this is the overview component, which basically for a selected space gives you an overview about all of your pages, just like you have as usual in your sidebar over here. But of course, there's more information. For instance, for each page, you see the actual content relevance. Now, this is coming from Breeze, and which means a page can either up to date, so everything is fine, or a page can be labeled as review required, which means someone must look at it to decide if the content is still relevant. Or it can be archivable, which means that it's now ready to be archived and it's no longer needed. And also for each page, you see when has the page been last updated, when has it been last viewed. You see all of the contributors to a page. These are persons like who created the page, who edited content, who contributed to the page actually. And indicated by this little star icon is a feature that's also coming from us, that is page ownership. So you can define page owners for pages who are really should be responsible for keeping this content up to date. And now we could ask ourselves, great, but where do these labels actually come from? So how does this work? And as you can see here, this space has an assigned workflow. It's called default workflow. And a workflow consists of rules. And now we dive into this workflow. So we see it in a little bit more detail. This default workflow specifies rules for these two labels, for the label review required and also for the label archivable. And this label review required will be given to all pages that haven't been updated for 90 days in this example. Or, that's an or relationship, haven't been viewed for 60 days. And whenever a page hits these criteria, they will be automatically labeled as review required. Now, labeling is one part, but the other important part is to have notifications. Which persons should we notify whenever a page is labeled as review required? And you can select predefined notifications here. These are rules or roles like page owner, which is coming from us, or things like last contributor or the page creator or all contributors. So these are like predefined notifications. And you can also have individual notifications, like individual persons you want to notify. This could make sense, for example, in this example here below, because in this case, this archivable label will be given to all pages that haven't been viewed since 120 days. And whenever such a page is labeled as archivable, the page owner will be notified, and always Martin will be notified. And Martin maybe is the person responsible really for archiving the pages, for executing the archiving. So he will be notified every time. So basically, you specify such a workflow, you assign it to a space, and Breeze will automatically execute these workflows based on certain intervals. By default, it's every 4 weeks. You can define this in the settings. So every 4 weeks, Breeze will automatically run through a Confluence instance, will analyze all spaces with an assigned workflow and label the pages accordingly and notify the persons in charge of the review. And it will also create a report when it has finished the analysis. And a report is created as a standard Confluence page. It integrates right here in your usual page tree at the very bottom under Breeze reports. And it consists of 2 parts. The first parts give you some metrics about your content quality. And the quality is defined as ratio between green and yellow and red pages. So the more pages you have up to date, the better, obviously. It tells you how many pages you have in your space and how many pages are labeled as up to date, how many pages are marked as review required, how many pages are marked as archivable. And it also shows you how many pages are excluded from the analysis. I will show you this in a minute, how this works, because sometimes you have content that should stick in your Confluence space no matter what. You already know it must stick there. It shouldn't be analyzed. That's fine. We can handle this as well. And below this part, the report mentions users to review the following pages. So this is the result of the workflow, the result of the analysis. So this is like a task list, you could say, but it's it just mentions the users and tells them what to do. Yeah. And by the way, by using this mentioning feature over here, we make use of the built-in notification system of Confluence Cloud, which means we don't see any user information. In fact, we don't see anything of your content. That's the benefit, one benefit of Forge, actually. And we use this, so Confluence will notify these users via email, and they will also get a notification in this bell icon. But we don't have access, and we don't want to have access to your user information, because that should be yours no matter what. So people can then visit these pages, and we have a little widget that integrates on top of every Confluence page. It shows the actual content relevance, and in this case, it says review required. So the person can then review the page and can decide if it's up to date or if it's no longer needed. But let's say it's up to date, so everything is fine. It's set back to green. Or if the person decides to that it's really no longer needed, it can be marked as archivable. Then we can provide a little comment explaining why this page is no longer needed. I'll show you this in a minute, why we use this. Basically, it's for simplifying the understanding for the person in charge of archiving to really understand why it's no longer needed. And this is also the place where you can exclude pages from the analysis. So you can exclude singular pages, or you can exclude complete subtrees within your Confluence spaces. And it's also the place where you can define the page owner. So this is a feature coming from us where you really define which person is the page owner, and you can make use of this page owner within the workflow and really set a content review strategy where the persons responsible for reviewing these pages are the page owners. And yeah, you have better view about your responsibilities in this. And in Breeze, you will see we have another component here, this review component. There you will see all pages labeled as review required in one single view. And the nice thing of this view, the nice aspect of this view actually is that you also see the review duration, like how many days is this page under review required. So you can get some information about the quality of your review process here. How fast are persons with reviewing pages, or how fast is your team? How you going with this? And you can select individual person and filter for person. So assuming I'm Michael now, I can select myself and can see my pages to review on a single glance. I can see the contributors to the page. I can see which other persons have been notified. So maybe I speak to them. So we want to have short ways actually to provide a little bit information, so to simplify this reviewing process. And the same is true for this archiving component. You see all pages labeled as archivable on a single view. And here you see this comment I mentioned before, the reviewer comment, which makes it easy for the person in charge of archiving to decide what to do with it and to really understand why pages are no longer needed. And persons who have the permissions to archive or delete pages can then select individual pages or all of them and can decide whether they want to archive pages or delete them. In both cases, we make use of the built-in Confluence features, which means the built-in Confluence archive and the built-in Confluence trash, because it just makes sense to build up on these features that are already built into Confluence for best integration practices. So we don't have to reinvent the wheel here. So these features are working great, and they will work great in the future. And that's kind of the whole idea of Breeze. So when you install it, you define workflows with rules when pages should be labeled as review required or as archivable. You define the review process with assigning these page ownership and responsibilities, and get going from there. And to give you a little glimpse, I haven't shown you all features. Another feature, for instance, is this, because sometimes you have pages within a space that must be treated differently, and you can in fact define own rules for subtrees within your space to treat them differently, to maybe review them when they haven't been updated for 30 days only, etc. And there are more features built into this. But I give you a little glimpse into the future of what we will release next. And this is an analytics component, which will give you some kind of visual information about how is your space quality improving over time. So you can really reflect how is your review process, how is your quality growing in history. Hopefully it gets better and better. And these metrics here are not cast in stone, but they're just to visualize you that we will provide some visual information, like the page count history, the quality history, the content view rate, how many pages are viewed actually, etc., which will help your teams a lot to drive this quality of pages and your content quality overall.